Mr. Unlimited.
I would just say build a better deck.
You shall not pass! Oh, good for you!
Mr. Unlimited.
Welcome to the Commander Smiths.
We are the Commander Smiths.
I'm Adam Smith.
And I'm Lowry Smith.
Don't worry.
Mr. Worldwide. We're cousins.
Yeah, for the audio listeners, RoboCop got us there with the hype for Mr. Worldwide. So yeah, this is episode 346, and finally we have an episode that we are getting away from controversial topics. And what are we doing instead today, Lowry?
So Precons have been out for a week or two at this point for Duskmourn. We generally do this as its own thing, but we are getting crushed for time. So this is getting in. This is going to be the podcast. We're going to be doing $20 upgrades and Mr. Worldwide upgrades. Mr. Unlimited upgrades for the Precons.
I need to make that.
And there's a lot of cool cards here. I know there's a lot of people excited for the red black commander, and Adam has that one. But we're not going to do that one first. You wanted to do which one first?
We are going to jump on the jump scare one. We're going to jump on the jump scare. Look at that. Look at that.
I guess, do we want to do tags right now? Do we?
Yeah, because we are really quick, everybody. We are doing a double cast this week, in that we are going to also do a cast on Thursday
night,
and that one's going to be like we've done a few months back, where it was all Stump the Smith Savant. So basically back to back.
What we're doing. All right.
Yep. So Stump the Smith Savant marathon. So remember, you might want to enter. This is giving you guys some time here. Even the people that only listen for the audio part, enter, because Ragavan is on the line. Let me see. Where are we? Ragavan, and actually we're currently on the level 1, and RoboCop did pick this one out, the 3-tree city. So the proxy, the foil one there.
Nice.
And you just got that for one of your card sphere things, didn't you, you lucky bastard?
I did. I got
good for you.
Thank you.
Let me see here. We are only on RoboCop was the last one to do it because we had all this stuff that popped up. So our next one is Arch
the
Chaos.
second round.
Yep, and this will be the second round. So we could technically, if we get to the third round, then Ragavan is up for grabs, and this is from Tommy Olson. Thank you again for that. So if you guys haven't entered, even if you have entered and you want to enter more, you only get your name in there once, but if you have multiple options, you might want to do so, because we're going to try to run through a bunch of them on Thursday. So that's going to be that. And the reason for that is we're both kind of potentially, you're gone for sure.
Well, I'm gone for sure. You're probably gone.
Yeah, so the hurricane stuff, if you guys haven't been listening for the last 2 years, last one Ian that's my business stuff. I had to go down for about 2 weeks to do cleanup and stuff like that, and it doesn't look very good for this next hurricane. So fun stuff. So we'll see what happens here. So I'll probably be gone as well. So we're going to take a little bit of a break just for Lowry to go have some fun, and then me to work. So yeah, double cast. So just tonight we are just doing this. So like you said, tags. Make sure you guys, the ways you support us is just by either, give this a thumbs up. That's a good point. Give it a like if you're watching right now.
Out of here.
Urza's is for life. Hell yeah. I need to get the back.
Red
to
Scrolls is once. There's the sagas. I don't know
where
what's
is
going on.
theirs? Where's their
I don't know what's going
Get
on.
the fuck out.
Okay, so give this video a like if you're watching. If you're not watching, you're listening. Make sure you guys subscribe to our YouTube channel. That helps us out. That's the free way to support us. If you want to financially help us out a little bit and become buddies, jump on the Discord. $1 just gets you in the Discord. If you want proxies, like the one we're giving away later this week, the one I just showed you, this little guy, 3 Tree City. You can do that. That helps us out. Everything basically that we get from you guys goes right back into the show. So our next big thing is we're trying to get new cameras so we can start doing our in real life gameplay. The other ways you can support the show is I got to mess with this, but we have our store that we took down, but it's still up, but it's on eBay. So it doesn't really, it's kind of hard to find. I'm going to make that a little easier at some point, but we have the t-shirts like Urza's for life. Lowry has on the Malort one, the cups, all that. So that can be, if you're interested and don't know how to find it, you can message us at commandersmiths@gmail.com. But if you're part of the Discord, it's pretty easy. We can shoot you the link there too. So, all right, that's all the stuff here. We have lots of stuff we do every week, and we're gonna have a little bit of break. But should we just get like right to the episode then?
We could probably do that. I don't have any problem with that.
Well, really quick, how was I just want to do a little. How was your son's birthday? How did that all go?
Oh, it was a busy ass day. We had what's going on?
What?
I think my camera's not on auto zoom or anything, so or focus. Yeah, it was a good weekend. Had a class birthday party at the bowling party with a bunch of first graders. That
Chaos
gets to be a lot. Yeah, a little chaos. TMNT version, you know, everybody ended up getting with the costume. That was cool.
Awesome.
And then we had smaller family one. A lot of you know, you were out of town, and but my dad was able to make. It was probably his first birthday he was able to make, because generally it's during harvest and stuff like that. And so, but they finished real quick and easy and early this year. It was so
sweet.
It worked out really nice.
Nice. And yeah, you guys did a little
other
early.
than that, I'm still tired. It was it's a long day. My son had soccer that morning, so it was just
boom, boom, boom. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you guys did a little early because you guys are going to be gone when his actual birthday is, right? Yeah.
For his actual birthday, we're going to be out in a boat. I'll talk about that when I get back, because I don't know what I'm doing. I just do what I'm told, and ends up being fun. So
nice.
What about you? How was up north with Grandpa?
Good. Got to see fall colors, and fall colors up in Lutzen North Shore is no longer really a secret. I mean, social media stuff. I've noticed that like over the last 15 years that's blowing up. I mean, people always knew about it, but not to the extent of it now, and it's just chaos. But we went up there Thursday, so we got to enjoy a day without a lot of people on Friday. Mug life.
Like the root beer?
Like this? Like our mugs? Like the mug life? Look at
makes
the
sense.
Yeti cups, which these are for sale, like I mentioned. Commander Smith Yetis. That's on part of the store stuff. Yeah, it was good. Fall colors, got to hang out with Grandpa. After Grandma passing and stuff like that. So this is the first time we got to have one-on-one with him. So then got to wake up early, watch the Vikings game at 8:30 in the morning, which was weird, but it was watch that, and then drove back. And then the traffic wasn't as bad as I thought it would be on the way back, but it still took us 5 hours to get home. So yeah,
that's a bit longer.
Yeah,
for you.
Yep, it's because it's normally 4. So, but anyways, all right, that's enough chitter chatter, chip chat, whatever.
Chitty chat.
We're gonna get into. Let's see, we're doing this one. All right, so we got the Commander decks here. We did the Commander. Is it worth it for all these decks? So if you guys want to see what's in the decks and see if they're worth it, we're not going to show you what's in these decks in this episode. What we're doing here is we're just taking these decks and we got a $20 budget upgrade. Actually, Lowry, normally you do this part. We have a $20 budget. I guess since you're starting, I'll do it. $20 budget upgrade. We go through the whole deck. It has to be a total of $20 or less, not $20 per card, the whole thing. And then at the end, we also have Mr. Unlimited upgrade. So if you have no budget, so this kind of fits everybody. So if you really want to build this deck or this commander, it might help you out to check this out, to get you some ideas. I think that's about it. But like I said, if you want to see what's in the deck, check out our other videos on Is It Worth It? So, Lowry, take it away. Jump scare upgrades. You are starting with this little guy.
All right, jump scare. That is the Zimone one. That is like 2 colorless, green, blue. She's a 3/3 human wizard. And I should actually sit down and read it instead of faking it. Okay, so landfall. Whenever a land you control enters, you get to manifest dread. And so that's look at the top 2, put one of them into play face down, and then the second landfall trigger, you're able, and beyond, you're able to flip a face down creature up if it's a creature. So if it's not a creature, you can't just like flip an instant up and have it cast or whatever. It has to be a creature that's flipping up, I believe. Maybe a land? I don't know. But I'm pretty sure
I think it has to be a creature for it to be able to flip up.
Pretty sure it has to be a creature.
Yep.
So
she's
pretty cool in that regard, to whereas like she really feeds into like the manifest effect, and you're able to flip things over a lot easier. And also you're able to work with like bigger creatures that don't have the morph face down mechanic, and just able to flip things that are huge up a lot easier. And that is pretty cool in that regard. And that'll just end up being whatever big creatures you kind of want to have happen.
Right. And if you are able to, this also has graveyard synergies that you can throw stuff in graveyard, which is kind of nice, but it's in green blue, so it's a little harder, but you can...
Yeah, blue doesn't do it as much, but green has enough. And if you just have creatures that you want to be able to throw in, like Dredge, throwing a Life from Loam in there is always good stuff.
Right.
Probably not Vengevine, but I guess, I don't know.
Well, you could play from the graveyard land stuff, like you just said with the Life from the Loam, but you could have the Crucible Worlds, Ramonap Excavator, stuff like that, to be able to throw the land in the graveyard, then bring it out, as part of it too. So, but what did you do with this deck? How many cards are we dealing with here?
Generally, I aim for about adding in 10 cards, and we are just looking at some older kind of like morph mechanics, and we'll talk through stuff. So the first one real quick is like Enoch Survivalist. I probably didn't say that right, but it has the Megamorph mechanic, but when you turn it face up, you get to destroy an artifact or enchantment. Super cheap, and you want that removal and utility that just kind of works with the morph mechanic. And then if you feed in, you can really help out with kind of a lot of the face down stuff. And so speaking about that, actually I should see, so next one, a Fedo Runecaster. That's whenever a creature is turned face up, you get to draw a card. So you're going to be drawing more cards as you're doing that kind of stuff. That
really feeds into this really well.
Yeah, just a 50-cent card. It's pretty nice in that regard from Scourge. And so it just, the more you have of that in there, you can make, or the synergies with morph and face down cards, because there's plenty of them. There's Disguise, there's Morph, Megamorph,
right,
and now you have Manifest and Manifest Dread, and I think there's one more from Murderers that was in there. Cloak is out there now. So like there's a lot of stuff in there that you can be digging through, and choices, even though they kind of are a little different, they're still
the same idea of what this does.
When something gets turned face up, they will trigger. The next one would be Cryptic Coat, and so that's a new one for Murderers, and that'll, I believe, that cloaks. Right?
Cloak the top card of your library, then attach Cryptic Coat to
which makes it +1/+0 and unblockable. And then you can also just return it back to your hand for 2, and then recast it to have it kind of be a nice little like feed into face down cards again.
I dig that.
Next one is Forsaken Monument. That is generally going to be looked at as an Eldrazi card, but it works perfect with more face down cards. 5 mana. Colorless creatures get +2/+2. All those face down cards are colorless. Whenever you tap a permanent for colorless, add an additional colorless. Not sure how much that's gonna, you're always gonna have colorless. So,
but you're making your 2/2s 4/4s, and then the other,
Right.
the last part is the gaining the life when you're casting those too.
and then you get to gain 2 life whenever you cast a face down card.
Yeah, that's
Like,
pretty sweet.
That's doing work for you. Pretty cheap with the reprint after.
Yeah, because it was up there a little bit until they reprinted. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's good they got that reprint in. Yeah, I like that. That's a good ad. I was surprised when you had that there. I was like, shouldn't that be in Mr. Unlimited? But yeah, I totally forgot that.
Yeah, it dropped dramatically after last summer. Next one we can talk about is Glaring Flesh Raker. Gross. 2 and a colorless for 2/2. Whenever you cast a colorless spell, create an 0/1 colorless Eldrazi spawn, create a token that sacrifices for a colorless, and whenever another colorless creature enters under your control, this deals 1 damage to each opponent. So you cast a face down card, you get a Eldrazi spawn, and everybody takes 2 damage.
So it's kind
of
like it's ramp and then 2 damage with it. Yeah, that is pretty sweet.
And so basically, like, when it comes to a face down deck, they are colorless. They're colorless in your deck. They're colorless on the stack when you cast them. You can't necessarily like cheat in the face down aspect of it.
Right.
But as long as you're casting it, you can choose to do the face down part of it, if that makes sense. So like, what's like an example of what I'm thinking? Like if you were to blink a morph card, it comes down face up, but it didn't get turned face up, and you can't choose to have it come into play down. So like the casting part, that's kind of the important part of making it kind of like colorless on the stack and stuff like that. So look into it. There's some cool cards that work well with it. Next one that we can talk about is a new one. Again, there's not a lot of good stuff. There's like a lot of stuff at this point, but it doesn't mean there's a lot of good stuff at this point. And like you kind of had that problem back in Murderer's Precon, where like it was green, white, red, and for me here at least, green, blue is like the best, and then you have just a smaller color if you want for a third color, like with
it would have been Kadena. Nice if they added the blue to that commander. I would have.
But with your white and red, like you basically everything that was newly printed had to be run for it to be like a deck.
Yeah.
So like this is a lot nicer that you have choices in green and blue since they're the main ones. But so new card nonetheless. Hauntwood's Shrieker. Whenever it attacks, manifest dread. So that's looking at the top 2. Put 1 face down, and then you can pay 2. Reveal target face down permanent. If it's a creature, you may turn it face up. So this is that face up aspect. You'll get all those triggers. It's super cheap. It's going to get around a lot of more expensive morph triggers or disguise or whatever. And one thing that I do want to point out as well is that morphing is not an activated ability. It is a special action into a triggered ability.
So you can't really interact with. There's like very little that you can do to interact with it.
Right. So like I don't think there's anything that would, unless it specifically states like morph cost is less. So like Training Grounds doesn't work with this with morphing cards and stuff like that. So that doesn't work. So, but this right there, and then there's Ixidor that will turn a card face up and stuff like that. So anything that reduces the cost of flipping a card face up is pretty good for your deck. Another one we can talk about, Panoptic Projector, which was probably in your deck that from Murder. But
yes,
I believe that's the symbol. But tap, it's an artifact. The next face down creature spell you cast this turn costs 3 less to cast, so it's a free morph cost essentially. If turning a face down permanent causes a triggered ability of a permanent you control to trigger, it triggers an additional time. So it's nice in that regard. You're gonna get free casting and double the trigger.
triggers. Yep.
It's only 4 mana. I like that quite a bit. Next one would be Riptide Entrancer. This basically, it's a morph spell down for 3, and you can pay 2 blue to turn it up. If it deals damage, you can sack it and gain control of target creature the player controls.
Ooh, nasty.
So yeah, one of those that are kind of like obscure, really old, and I just wanted to point that out.
You wanted to throw your curated in there. That's what you want to do. Curated.
Yeah. If I'm probably making Kadena, so like the morph deck and stuff like that. And if this makes it in there, it'll probably be a curated for sure. Next one, Secret Plans, just a green-blue enchantment. Face down creatures get +0/+1, and whenever a permanent you control is turned face up, draw a card. So it's just
or draw on
making
that,
making sure you get draw and stuff like that. And the last one is going to be for murderers. Is Vanifair Evolved Enigma. This is a mythic. But at the beginning of combat on your turn, choose 1. Cloak a card from your hand, or put a 1/1 counter on each colorless creature you control.
Nice.
That's just
It's
getting a little bit
more.
It's
Yep.
yeah, either the counters and more pressure, or more creatures, whatever you kind of need going on.
Yeah, I dig that. All right, so you had a total of what, 10 cards there? What was your total value of all those cards? Did we stay under the $20?
Oh yeah, big time. We're at $10.51.
Oh,
So we
good for you.
killed it. But again, we're kind of a little bit of a repeating of ourselves from the Murderers episode. Was they're just like, if
There's
you're
not a
making a
lot.
morph deck or a face down deck, you're kind of limited in what's going on,
yeah.
and there's not a lot of. It's a cheap build, like almost no matter how you do it, unless you are choosing the 2 expensive cards.
Yeah.
That's basically what it is, and we'll talk about those in Mr. Unlimited.
Speaking of that,
Mr. Unlimited.
we got 5 cards we're talking about here. What do we got for our Mr. Unlimited section? No budget. What are you putting in here?
Yeah, so you got a Boron Oculus, which is the new one that'll manifest
yeah.
red, and you can. What is it doing? As an additional cost to cast a spell, exile 6 cards from your graveyard. It's 3 mana for a 5/5 flyer. At the beginning of each opponent's upkeep, manifest dread. So you're manifest dreading each upkeep for your opponents. It's 5/5 for 3, exiling some stuff.
Ridiculous.
It's like a $25-$30 card right now.
Yeah, it's so
I'm
stupid
gonna
good.
hope that it goes
Yeah,
down quite
right,
a bit, but
right.
it's gonna be a stud for a while in standard. So, because they've kind of they at least fed into face down cards for a bit, with Murderers, and now
We have a couple sets that are using it. Yeah, so you can use it.
so it's a thing that they're kind of pushing, which
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yep.
Next one is Apheto Alchemist, which is a morph card. I never use it as a morph card, but colorless and a blue 1/2. You can tap, untap target artifact or creature. It's basically just ramp in blue. You don't really need it, but it's like a $6-7 card at this point. So it's pretty good. Azusa, Lost but Seeking. You're a landfall deck. If you have cards that allow you to put more lands into play, you're going to trigger Zimone more.
That's one angle I was kind of thinking is this commander, I might, if I were building it, I may jump into the landfall aspect of it, because playing those cards like we talked about in the beginning and really taking advantage of that, and maybe not even using the morph part of it, more so make it a landfall type of deck would be kind of an interesting angle to it. So
yeah, you definitely can go that route. And again, they've kind of done consistent deck themes. I think they've the green blue deck from this summer was a land deck with the
Bloomburrow.
No, even before that.
Modern Horizons 3?
Yeah. One of those decks.
Oh, yeah. I don't know what you're talking about.
That was like a landfall heavy one.
Yeah.
So
Wasn't that the one that looked like the doppelganger kind of commander?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and then they also had one from Outlaws
Oh, yeah.
with the deserts and stuff
you're
like
right.
that.
Yeah, that is. Yep.
So
I forgot
they're
about
kind of pounding on some themes in the last 8 months.
Here,
So-
play landfall, please.
Yeah. So if get cards that allow you to play more lands, and then you can fetch on other people's turns to get more manifest like creatures and flip them upright, like they're going to be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Zeus is up to like $7 now, though. Now I was kind of
Really?
surprised
Because it's been printed
Yeah.
a crap ton over the last couple of years, especially Secret
Right.
Lair and all that stuff. So interesting.
I was impressed. Next one would be the new Kozilek from Commander or Modern Horizons 3. But this one deals with manifesting, and you can put manifest cards down. You get the draw cards off of it, and then it's another boost to your colorless creatures.
3/2.
So,
Yeah, that really pumps them up. Ooh, and you have one of the new cards in here. I like this one. This is my top 10.
Another new.
You have 2 cards from my top 10. Good job, Lowry. I'm proud of you.
Overlord of the Hauntwoods. Again, this is a $20-$30 card at this point. But when it enters or attacks, create a tapped colorless land token named everywhere. Basically just a landfall trigger. It's really expensive one.
Sweet. Yeah, I like
So,
this.
But I think that'll be a decent addition to landfall decks, is just being able to ETB it or attack, and you're just getting those landfall triggers.
Yeah, I like this.
So,
Yeah, I think, like I said, if I were to build this, I think I would do a similar thing in that kind of probably lean on the landfall part. I mean, that's your favorite mechanic.
landfall is more powerful, and you're better at your morph deck. So
I don't like my morph deck. Yeah. All right. So, all right. I like it. How do you like the deck overall? If you were to change it with this, is this something you would do? Would you go out and buy this and do these upgrades, or it's like, eh?
is it, I like having 3 colors. I prefer that. And so, like I said, I'm going to work with Kadena, and I think some of these new cards from this new set make me want to play and try out the new like face down cards a bit more. They've at least added to the arsenal since I think I got rid of the deck maybe 2-3 years ago at this point. So I feel like it might be different enough to be worth rebuilding.
I'm just more mad
This one
that,
specifically, probably not.
that this didn't add to make my morph deck actually playable. So I'm just like,
No.
whatever.
It didn't.
Fuckers. All right. Okay. So let's move on to the next deck. Oh, by the way, if you guys want to check out our Mox field, you guys can follow us there, Commander Smiths, and that you can see where the upgrades are. We have all the deck upgrades we have done. I think I'm going to save the big guy for last. So I'm going to work on, let's do Death Toll. So this is Death Toll upgrades. All right. I did something that I've threatened that I was going to do multiple times with previous decks, and I changed the commander. Because I'll read with the face one. Really, don't look at any of these. Don't look at any of these. Where is
I
he?
definitely saw them all.
Okay. So this is the face commander, Winter Clinical Opportunist, 2 and 1 black and a green. It has Death Touch, Human Warlock, 2/5. When it attacks, mill 3 cards and has Delirium at the beginning of your end step. You may exile any number of cards from your graveyard with 4 or more card types among them. If you do, put a permanent from among them on a battlefield with finality counter. It seems pretty boring. Like, I was just like that. You mill yourself only when he attacks, and you're getting the benefit of bringing something in for free. But you have to be able to do 4 different types from your graveyard. So it's just like, this doesn't seem strong at all. But I really like, and that's what I mentioned, it was before cast. I really like the Scarecrow in this, and I mentioned it before. I think didn't he make my top 10? I think he was in my top 10. But
I think so.
Yeah. So I like this dude. Rendmaw Creaking Nest. So it's 3, 1 black, and 1 green. So this is the alternate commander in the deck. It is a legendary artifact creature, Scarecrow. He has Menace and Reach. And then when he enters the battlefield, and whenever you play a card with 2 or more card types, each player creates a tapped 2/2 black bird creature token with flying. The tokens are goaded for the rest of the game. This dude's a 5/5, so he can block those dang birds if you get down to the last player. I think this could be a lot of fun because you're also getting this 2/2. It's not just benefiting everybody else by getting the 2/2s. You get a 2/2 that must attack, so you're attacking one of the players. But everybody, the fact that they come into play tapped adds a kind of interesting thing because the first player to go after you, theirs untaps and they have to attack. So the other people's blockers are no longer, they're all tapped, so they can attack through with the flying. And it keeps going because they're all attacking. So by making them come into play tapped, makes them kind of evasive from anybody kill it, like going, hey, you attack me
instead
with
of
your
just blocking and
right. You
having
attack me with the
everything die.
2/2, I'll block with my 2/2, and then we kill it. This makes it so they're always going to be attacking. So there's a couple different angles I would like to do with this deck. Like one is make it, well, I guess I should point out the obvious. What happens when you get down to 1v1? Like you just gave this player how many creatures and stuff like that throughout the game.
Yeah.
How do you get rid of them? Well, I'll get to that kind of probably in the Mr. Unlimited part. But as you can see, this is probably our record. 22 cards I have in this.
That's quite a bit.
Yeah. When I actually get started here too,
You just built the deck.
basically.
That's-
You can do artifact creatures because they're artifacts and they're creatures. So you could just make this an artifact creature deck in a way.
Sure.
Because it what am I trying to say? It triggers this commander. So you play an artifact creature, you're going to give everybody a 2/2, including yourself. So, all right, let's get to it. Beastmaster Ascension, you're attacking with goated creatures. Hey, be nice if those 2/2s turned into 7/7s. You're going to try to create as many as you can. Why not benefit for yourself? So, Beastmaster Ascension's the first one. Bloodseeker. This one, whenever a creature enters the battlefield on an opponent's control, you can have that player lose a life. So you're giving everybody creatures. They lose a life when they get it. Not only that, when they play creatures, they're going to lose life. So this is kind of an easy one to put in the deck. So you're punishing people for getting the creatures and when they get creatures. So it's just, I like it. It's really cheap. All these, I'm telling you, 22 cards. And I'm at $19.
It has to be under $1 per card.
I'm at $19.81. So we'll get to that. Compost. Whenever a black card is put into your opponent's graveyards, you may draw a card. These are making black bird creatures with flying. So
But they're
actually
tokens.
Does it say non-token?
No, it says card.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, come
So it's like
on.
one of only a handful of cards.
Stupid.
If
All right.
you had watched my curated on Compost, you would have known that.
Wait, did you mess up on that when your video or no? You got
No,
that
I
right?
specifically
Pointed that out.
mentioned it, and somebody's like, "No, that's not how that works." I'm like, "Yeah, they didn't errata it that away, so it's specifically looking for a card."
All right, take compost away, and that brings us $1 cheaper because that is exactly $1. So I'm
There
going
we
to
go.
put this down to $18.81, and now we are at 21 cards. All right, so ignore that card. Wait, let's just do this.
Yeah, you can delete it.
Remove it. It is gone. All right, so it does not exist. Pretend it wasn't there. The mirrors, I'm going to say you can do a bunch of the mirrors. I did the two that create colors, but it's giving you mono ramp in this or ramp in this. Not
Spring
ramp.
ring run law.
Mono rocks, mono dorks. There we go. So I think you could substitute some of your mono rocks that are in the deck already and put in creatures that are producing it because it fits in theme more. You're going to hit what your commander does. Instead of playing a mono rock, you play a copper mirror and you actually get everybody giving a 2/2 and you're getting a 2/2. So I'll go fast through the other ones when I get to them, but that was one of the things I'd like to add in here. Courser Crew Fix, we have an enchantment creature, so you're hitting that as well. It's allowing you to gain life when you play lands, and you can play lands from the top of your library. One of Lowry's favorites here, Crashing Drawbridge, Artifact Creature Wall. It's really because it has the artifact creature in there, but it does give all your creatures haste if you tap it. So a 2-drop there. Very nice. I wish what I could do is if this was in blue, I really wish it was in blue because I would do a lot of bounce effects because I do the 0-drop rocks, ornithopter kind of things bouncing in my hand, but I'm in the wrong colors to be able to do that. So it didn't work out as well as I would like, but I think this could be really fun. Destiny Spinner, creatures and enchantment spells you control can't be countered. So basically everything in your deck, you're going to go really heavy on the creature and enchantment and artifact stuff. Most of the artifacts are going to be the artifact creatures, so this kind of helps you out there. And as you notice, I'm trying to stay low on the casting cost with all of these just because you want to be able to cast a bunch of spells on your turn if you can. You want to get as many
Agreed.
creatures on the board. What you're trying to do is stack it until you get to the end of the game, and that's where you can kind of win the game. But you might have to break the rule of the $20 budget. I don't know, unless you can think of something that'll help me out instead of doing the normal like overrun effect. I guess that's my Beastmaster Ascension thing is kind of my winning of the game. But okay, keep going. Dockside Chef, 1-drop, sacrifice artifact or a creature, draw a card. It's an enchantment creature. So again, just little 1-drops. Edelana Blossoms, we're going to draw cards off of playing enchantments. So I think if I were to build this, and if I build this, which I'm probably going to do, I'm probably going to go 50-50. I'm probably going to go half artifact creatures and half enchantment creatures, just so I can hit that. So this would work out if half your deck, not half your deck, but half of the creatures you're playing are the enchantment style. So, and this is a creature in itself too.
Yeah, I mean, generally when I think of like half and half, like an example is like my Layla deck where you could be enchantment and artifact and split the difference. The thing is that there's good support cards on either artifacts
side.
or
Yeah.
enchantments, and so if you want those to be more like, if Eidolon's going to be the most effective, you want to jam as many enchantments as possible,
yeah,
right?
For sure.
So I mean, I'd probably go one way or the other, and I think these colors probably lend themselves more to enchantments, even though your
We're missing
dorks
white.
are going to be good in the artifact realm
Right.
and stuff like that. So, you'll just have to do what you want though.
Yep.
For
no,
sure.
And I think when I start
Boss.
gathering all together, then I'll be able to see which one feels better with the drawing. Because
Yeah.
again, our play style is we don't tutor. It's more of trying to draw as much as you can. So a lot of synergies working together. So yeah, that's basically in the building the deck. We'll see, because I think that's one I'm going to build. Curated card right here from Lowry, Elephant Grass. I do have this in another deck with my Daryl deck, but it is a 1-drop enchantment. Clumen of Upkeep 1. Black creatures cannot attack you. So those birds that you just gave everybody, you save this until it becomes down to the one-on-one time with the last player on the board. But non-black creatures can't attack you unless they pay 2 additional for each attacking creature. So you wait until the end of the game. This is kind of your game winner. You got to figure out a way to hit them as well. But this is the way that you don't get killed from all those birds that you just gave them. Erebos, Bleak-Hearted. Whenever another creature you control dies, to pay 2 life. If you do, draw a card. So you're killing your stuff. That was the other thing, is I was like, you could do some synergies with sacrificing your creatures. You're making so many creatures. There's a lot of different angles you could do with this deck. So I kind of threw this in there to be like, show you, hey, if you go the other way of using your birds that you're making as a resource to do other things, this would be a way to draw off of that as well. Essence Warden, again, you're gaining when you cast any of these double whatever artifact creatures or enchantment creatures, you're getting 4 life because you get a 2/2, they get a 2/2, everybody gets a 2/2, so you get 4 life off of that. You talked about the mirror. Lingify is a removal.
Well, plus whatever creature comes into play that you cast.
Oh, that's a good
likely
point.
a creature.
Yeah, so 5 life. That's a good point. Lingify, so that's just an enchantment. Oh, no, I might not want that one in there.
Tribal is not a...
No, it's more of the aura enchantment.
No, it might be.
No, because here's the thing. Snow permanents
That's
are
a subtype.
subtype, yes.
Right.
Or tribal.
But tribal works with Tarmogoyf. So a tribal card will, like this card will boost Tarmogoyf 2.
Okay. Yeah.
So and they would not have done that if they didn't future sight Tarmogoyf and specifically put tribal and have everybody like, what's tribal?
Yeah. So
I do think that does work.
Yeah. So we get a. I just wanted to point out you can get some other removal stuff in there. If you can try to find more of this, I don't get everything in there because you can use some of that as an idea to get yourself to add more things that are like it. Massacre Worm, yes, it's not a double, but the thing is you're gonna kill all those birds that you. This is your game winner. So cool thing about Massacre Worm is it's now cheap because they keep printing the hell out of it. And it's in one of the commander decks. It's not in this one. It's in, I think, my other one. So you can see this is the commander deck for this set.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But you wipe out everybody else's birds, and then they lose 2 life per one of those birds leaving. So you just save this one for the end as well, and that's your game winner. Mirkwood Bats, I just end up shoving this in so many decks because I do a lot of token stuff. But whenever you create or sacrifice a token, each opponent loses a life. So you're creating those tokens. Every opponent's losing a life. So this is what I was talking about, Snow Creature. This doesn't work.
Correct. That wouldn't count. No.
But it is making it so that you're attacking creatures. So I do have Toski in the Mr. Unlimited part. But it's making it because you're going to have to attack no matter what. Let's give them Death Touch. So they're not going to want to necessarily block. And they won't be able to block with their birds. And so you just basically draw off of that. Some draw synergies there. Ornithopter. God, yeah, 22 cards is a lot. Let me just burn through these. So Ornithopter, Paradise, Artifact Creature, gives you land. Sanctum Weaver, so that's continuing with the enchantment creature stuff. Okay, last 3. These are good. Shit. How do you say this guy? Shigeki?
One.
Jukai
I don't know how to say it. Shikigi.
Shikigi? It's a legendary enchantment creature, Snake Druid. This is you return this to your hand, reveal the top 4 cards of your library, and put a land card from among them onto the battlefield, tap, put the rest in your graveyard. This is what I want more of for this deck because you play it for 2, you give everybody 2/2s, you can tap 2 the next turn and tap it and bring it to your hand, and then you can do it again. Plus, you're getting the advantage of what its ability is. So it's just feeding itself there. So I really like this card. It's in one of the commander decks. It's not in this one, but I really like this. Twitching Doll. No, we didn't have this one, but this one seems interesting. It's a mono rock. Every time you tap it, you put a nest counter on it, but it's an artifact creature. And then you can tap it, sacrifice, and get a 2/2 spider with reach for each of those. So this could help you out late game if they have all these 2/2s and you killed everybody else and there's just 1-on-1. Hey, you can sacrifice it. Now these 2/2s can block those 2/2s, and that can help you out a little bit there. And then there isn't a lot, but this one's cheap. Here's the one land that's under $5, and it's off the new set. But Valgavoth's Lair. It is an enchantment land. We know what's another enchantment land that we have. Oh, we'll talk about it in a little bit. One of your favorites.
We don't need to. I know what you're thinking.
It comes into play tapped. You choose a color, then you can tap it for any of the chosen color. It has hexproof. But if you read the card, it says you play. It's not casting. Let's scroll all the way back up to the commander. Whenever you play a card with 2 or more card types, so you don't have to cast it. So lands that have 2 types, if they're an enchantment and a land, you get the benefit from that. All right, so that is 22 cards. Nope, 21 cards, and that brings us. Go ahead.
What is it at? Yeah,
$18.81.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. What I realize now by doing this, 21 cards is a lot of cards to talk about.
It is. It is. You want to build the deck, which is good.
Yeah.
That's the way to be. One question that I want to look at, can you go back up to Mirkwood Bats? And then I want to read the Renmaw as well. So Mirkwood, whenever you create or sacrifice a token, each opponent loses 1 life. And then let's read Renmaw. Because I think, what is the term?
Each player
more
creates.
Card type each player creates. So Mirkwood Bats will only get you
1. Yeah.
Have them lose 1.
Right. Yeah, they're not getting it, not from everybody. It was more of I'm creating the 2/2s, but then if my 2/2s die, it's also doing loss.
I wanted to make sure
that
it was, or like that the life gain thing where it's like if you are creating it, but generally whenever you're forcing somebody to get the tokens, they're kind of creating it. So
I I hear you on that.
I was
All
just
right.
double checking on that.
So that is a total just under $20. Now we have
Mr. Unlimited.
13
We have
cards.
130 cards for this. Oh, there's no 0, just 13.
All right, so these will be quick. Bear Umbra. It's oh no, I did this again. The enchantment aura throws me off. I'm getting rid of Bear Umbra. That is gone. We have 12 cards. Bow of Nylea. This is an enchantment artifact, so attacking creatures you control have Death Touch. I mentioned that before. Giving your 2/2s Death Touch is kind of nice. Whatever, you can use the other parts of it, which help, because you can kill their birds if it comes down to it, because you can tap it to do 2 damage to a target flying creature. But the main thing is giving your creatures Death Touch, and you get the trigger for the enchantment and artifact part. Cybermen Squadron. Now, if you wanted to go heavy on the artifact side of things, this would be brutal, because you're making the artifacts, you're making your 2/2 birds. Now your artifacts have Myriad, so you can attack with those. It makes multiples, attacking everybody else. You're not getting triggers from those, mind you, but you're still, the things that you're making, your artifact creatures, are now able to attack everybody. I could tell you from experience, Myriad is very, very fun, because Duke has a lot of fun with that. So
Duke does well.
Yep. Defense of the Heart. You're giving everybody creatures. Why not go get whatever you want out of your deck? That's a good one. Coat of Arms and Cloudstone Kira. I did not add those to the deck here. Bill from Woodbury. I had thought about
Cloudstone Curio is the one that I've been trying to think of this whole
time
deck. Like,
those are two good,
I like both
good
those.
ads there. Yep, that would be in the Mr. Unlimited for sure. Dryad of the Elysian Grove. It is an enchantment creature. It's always good in that. Giggling
Generally a stud.
Skitter Spike. So this fits in that artifact and creature part. You could add that in there. This is actually quite expensive. People like this card. Didn't you have this in your top 10? Pretty sure you did.
I did.
Yeah.
I did. I'll take all the forms of Stuffy Doll.
Yeah. So this one's pretty brutal in this. Journey to Eternity. I didn't realize it was like a $7 card at this point, but it's no, again. That's what you see what I did there? The enchantment aura threw me off. Nope, that one's gone. But Primal Vigor I thought would be really cool.
Oh,
because
let's speed this up.
Yep, you're giving yourself extra tokens, but you're giving everybody else extra tokens. Like if you take the doubling seasons and the parallel lives, that's only for you. Sure, you can have those in the deck too, but let's like you just said, speed this up. When you give everybody one, let's give everybody two. Let's kill each other a lot quicker. So Primal Vigor, I think, is a for sure add in this deck. Roaming Throne, artifact and creature. Let's get some multiple triggers off of that. Roaming Throne's always good. Meat Hook Massacre, that's a way you can wipe out their stuff and have people lose life and gain life off of that. Toski, I mentioned that earlier. Oh, anything artifact land, by the way. They have a lot of them in the deck, but you could do, there's a couple more that they didn't have in here. So you could add those in, including Treasure Vault, because, it hits both of those. And last but not least, the greatest.
Bad card.
Second.
Okay, kill him.
Second greatest card according to utility lands, but Urza's Saga is an enchantment and a land, so you can get the benefit off of that. So,
here, along with, I'm gonna throw
okay
one out there really quick that's not used a whole ton, but it is in line with the enchantment that you did. But Parallel Evolution.
Parr.
So this is a sorcery for 5, and it has flashback for 7. But for each creature token in play, its controller puts a creature token into play that's a copy of that creature.
Did I spell parallel wrong? Evolution? I'm not finding it. Let me do Scryfall instead.
All right.
I think I spelled parallel. There we go.
The one on the left. Yep.
All right. For each creature token. Oh, yeah. That's a good one. I like that.
So kind of along that lines for doubling the amount of tokens that are in play. And Bill from Woodbury has a good point here. Like Wing Storm, there's plenty of cards out there that will just destroy a bunch of flying creature is pretty cheap. Wingstorm does 4 damage or destroys everything.
X damage, where X is twice the number of creatures with flying that player controls. To each player. Oh, it's doing damage to each player.
Ah, I like that.
X is twice the number of creatures with flying. Yeah, that'd do
Speed
some
the game up.
pretty big damage there. And let me show the other one, because I was thinking of this one, Cloud Stone Curio, and then as you get kind of going, and then I forgot. So when you wrote it again, I was like, oh yeah, that's the right one. I forgot to put that in.
So this is one of those that you want to put in if you go in enchantment heavy, because it doesn't loop the artifact creatures.
Yeah. So whenever a non-artifact permanent enters the battlefield under your control, you may return another permanent you control that shares a permanent type with that to its owner's hand. So yeah, no, I definitely like that. This can also, like I said, bringing back your stuff so you're able to keep doing that. That's pretty ridiculous. All right,
because if you could get something like this, but with your artifact creatures, you have so many artifact creatures. I don't know about so many, but 5 to 10 that are 0 cost, and if you can figure out how to juggle them and just be able to cast them for free,
right,
you're making a ton of those birdies.
Yeah,
but either way, I think that's going to be cool.
So I always I think that's why this deck speaks to me a little bit, is because I want to build a goading deck so bad, and this is an interesting way to goad. It's not their creatures are being goaded, but it's those 2/2s are goaded. So I really like that. So all right, let's move on to the next deck, and that is it Jump Scare? No, you're on
Miracle Worker.
Miracle Worker. All right.
So we're going to talk about Amanatu here.
Man.
Let's see here. I got to get there too.
And I got to get another beer.
So she is white, blue, black, colorless. Amanatu Veil Piercer. She's a 2/4 human wizard. At the beginning of your upkeep, surveil 2. So you get to kind of set the top a little bit there. And then each enchantment card in your hand has Miracle. The Miracle cost is equal to its mana cost reduced by 4. And so what Miracle is, though, is the first card you draw per turn, you get to reveal it and
you got to
pay its Miracle cost.
Yep.
So essentially what is, you've drawn it, it's in your hand, but you can't mix it in and be like, oh, this is the enchantment I drew. Right. It has to be Miracle it's right away, right then. And reducing it by 4 is big time. That's good ramp right there, I'd say.
For sure. Yeah. That's ridiculous. All right.
But obviously you kind of want to be going enchantment themed. If you want to go full on enchantments and not have any creatures and figure out how to kill them some other way, but just you could go give Amanatu indestructible and just have wraths and enchantments and figure out how to win from there.
It seems so douchey.
What do you think?
Magic plans.
Here we got 10 cards that we're going to talk about. A lot of it's just kind of working on setting the top and figuring out how to draw. So first one, old school one that we used to use a lot way before, at the beginning of time, but Crystal Ball. It's just 3 mana artifact, pay 1, tap it, scry 2. Before we kind of had Sensei's tops,
right?
It was the very budget version of it. This card's
so I'm guessing Sensei's top might be in your Mr. Unlimited section.
Maybe.
All right.
And then another one, Greed. It's an enchantment for 4 mana, so it works in the enchantment theme. But also you can pay a black 2 life and draw a card, which allows you to control each turn. You can draw a card and potentially miracle something in.
Now, Miracle doesn't follow the rules of
correct.
So if you miracle an enchantment on somebody else's turn, you get to play it that turn. You don't have to do it at instant speed and all that fun stuff.
Yep.
Yeah. That Miracle always throws me off with that. It's but I can't. Oh yeah, I can do that this turn. So
yeah. So Greed is a great cheap card that's going to allow you to control or be able to just draw on everybody's turn if you have that mana open.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
Super cheap as well.
OG, you're just pulling out the OG stops, man.
Well, I don't know if there's a couple of them, but so Library of Lang, 1 mana. You skip your discard phase of your turn, and then essentially, if you ever discard a card, you can choose to put that on top of your deck. And the big thing is like, if you have just a little bit of looting, like Gaia Reach Sanitarium.
Well, what is Surveil is discarding?
No,
that's
a
putting
mill.
in the graveyard. Never mind.
Yeah, it's kind of a mill. So it's not quite there. That would have been bonkers.
Yeah,
but,
I was like, you're really manipulating that.
But blue has plenty of cards that have you discard that, like, Careful Study, draw 2, discard 2.
Right, yeah.
Gaia Reach Sanitarium, draw a card, discard a card. So you can loot pretty easy with your draw package in this. And Library Lang can set your top quite easy. Next one is Mind's Dilation. It's just one of those big enchantments that you want to cheat in for really cheap. You know what I mean? 3 mana for a Mind's Dilation instead of 7 is dramatically better.
I've loved this card for so long, and I tried to like get it in decks, and I'm like, God, it's just so much mana. This doesn't make sense in any deck. This makes sense. I like it. Yep.
Yeah, and the other thing too is it's $2 or $3 right now from 7-8, like just 6 months ago. It got reprinted in the Outlaw set Commander decks. So
yeah, if people are listening, if you don't know what this card is, not seen, but it's whenever an opponent casts their first spell each turn, that player exiles the top card of the library. If it's a non-land card, you may cast it without paying its mana cost. So
yeah,
it's just silly. Just silly card.
It works.
Yep.
Next one is just a set in the top card, Mystic Speculation. It's 1 blue sorcery, buyback 2 extra on top of that, but scry 3, you can kind of do it a bunch of times. So it's just helping you dig and find the enchantments that you want to be cheating in, or also just these kind of cards allow you to make a smoother, like, I'm going to hit that land drop, I'm going to get that cheaper enchantment, save the more expensive one on top for when I want to miracle it, stuff like that. And then the next one is going to be Shadow of the Second Sun. I like this and the Sphinx version, especially in this kind of deck, but it's 6 mana enchantment, so you're getting full value if you can miracle it in for 2 blue. You enchant a player, you enchant you. And then at the beginning of enchanted players post-combat main phase, there is an additional beginning phase after this phase, which is untap or upkeep, untap, draw.
So you get, you basically get a second turn in a way,
right? But the nice thing is in this kind of deck, if you're looking to be able to miracle, once per turn, you want mana open, and so you can still play your turn, untap your lands, and then get another miracle or 2 or 3 in, and that's kind of really, really nice. So
I like
that's where I like, and like I said, there's a Sphinx that.
Yeah, I love Sphinx of the. Yep, I love that card.
Shadows of the Past. This is 1 and a black enchantment. Whenever any creature dies, you get to scry 1, and so it's just helping you set your deck essentially, and it's going to be pretty consistent, super cheap. And then it also has like 5 mana, 2 or everybody loses 2 life and you gain 2 life type thing. But next one is Soothsaying. Again, budget. Setting the top. I'm just kind of doing these because a lot of people don't
know of these
or use a lot of these.
Yeah,
and so
I like Soothsaying a lot.
Fat enchantments. Put fat enchantments in here, and you're going to gain the value. It's whatever you got. Roll with it. But setting the top is going to be important.
Yep, that's in my.
So Soothsaying, 1 blue enchantment, and then you can pay X and look at the top X cards of your deck, and then put them back in any order. So it's just setting the top when you can. And you can also shuffle your library.
Yeah, I was gonna say, in a pinch you could pay 5 to shuffle, but
you don't.
Yeah,
you don't want to do that. Again, Woe Strider, sacrifice a creature and scry 1. You also have like Viscera Seer and stuff like that, and then you can still just have
more miracle.
You can add. There's other miracle cards, not a lot. So, but Zephyrum from the Warhammer decks is pretty cool to be able to, pay 2 to miracle out, squat it to copy it for 2, Flying Vigilance 3/3, and if you want to do, you pay 4, you get 2 of them.
Yeah,
6, you get 3 of them, basically. So
That's pretty deep.
You can just
Pretty
go
dope.
full on Miracle deck with this too.
I like that. So you had what, 10 cards in this? What did your total come to in this?
10 cards for $10.31.
Whoa! You got another 10 cards you can add. Let's do 20.
I ain't got your kind of time.
You know, you could just add one of these these
Mr. Unlimited.
one of the Mr. Unlimited cards to make it
That's
close
not
to
that's
20.
not really budget.
All right,
Just
so
trying to make it cheap.
we're in Mr. Unlimited. We got 10 cards here. What do we got for our 10 cards?
All right. We got this is probably where some of the bigger, better enchantments are going to be coming from. But Dictate of Erebos, just
Yep, get that in for
it's
2.
a great card. Yeah. Erebos, God of the Dead, very similar to Greed, but just a $13 version of it, which can be a creature as well.
Yep.
Great Betrayal, which was what I had mentioned beforehand. But this one's actually pretty cool. It's 7 mana enchantment, so you can reduce it down to black colorless with the Miracle. Whenever a creature you don't control dies, return it to the battlefield under your control with an additional 1/1 counter on it, and it's also a zombie in addition to the other types.
Kind of like
So-
protects yours a little bit.
Yeah, it kind of turns into a little
Oh,
bit
wait,
of like
no. Whenever a
It That
creature you don't.
Betrays.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
It
it's
That
when their
Betrays
stuff.
is more like that. Another one that makes a-
Omniscience.
yeah, Omniscience is pretty solid because basically it's doing like a replacement of Amanat to, at that point, you don't care about the Miracle. You're just going to be able to cast fat enchantments for free instead. So it's probably a pretty similar feat.
Yep.
There's another one. This one's shot up in price. Normally we do this a week or two ago, and we get to talk about it before the decks raise the prices of cards. But Penance is a white enchantment, 2 and a white. Choose a card in your hand and put it that card on top of your deck. Prevent all damage from a black or red source. And so you're just able to kind of set cards from your hand on top and then Miracle them whenever you so wish.
That makes sense why that one jumped up.
Yeah. So, and it's cheap, old.
Yep.
Scroll Rack.
Perfect.
Basically, it's perfect for this deck.
Yeah.
It's a Miracle card.
Anything that's with set in the top like that, like I love Scroll Rack in my Eureka deck because you're able to set how you want it. It sucks when you get a Miracle card in your hand because it was your second card you drew or whatever. You started with it in your hand. It's like, well, shit. This is nice to be able to put it back on top and get that all figured out. So, love that. Oh, I was gonna say, where's our little guy?
Yeah.
Where's our
Sensei
guy?
Sop, we talk about it all the time. We can skip that pretty quick. Starfield of Nyx, 5 mana enchantment that can turn your non-creature enchantments into enchantments or into creatures with the CMC power and toughness. And so it's just a way to be aggressive, also bring some enchantments back, but just like put some pressure on the board for sure.
Well, it could be kind of your game winner because you're playing all these enchantments and stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, for
Oh,
sure. If
looks
you're
like-
running a white enchantment deck of any kind, this should probably be in there. The Meat Hook Massacre, already good, gets crazy good in this. Like, you're going to be able to kill everything pretty easy.
Yep.
And then you got Virtue of Persistence, the black one. And so 5 and 2 black at the beginning of your upkeep, put target creature card from a graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. So if you're doing that during your upkeep, just like returning one creature back and forth for 3 instead of the 7, sounds a lot better in my mind.
Yeah, for sure. Dig that.
So
All right.
I think
like
that's it.
Yeah, nice. All right.
So
All right. So we get to the last one here, and I guess this is the popular one, is what I've been told.
yeah, this one is it's quite popular.
Yeah. All right. So I got
Popular.
Endless Punishment. I'm gonna be honest with you. This deck actually, this Precon is built pretty well. Like there's a lot of the stuff in here that I would put in here. The commander itself. So if you don't know what it is, it's 2 colors, 1 black and 1 red for a 4/4 Elder Demon. It has flying and ward, pay 2 life. Whenever an opponent loses life for the first time during each of their turns, put a 1/1 counter on this and draw a card. So the only thing I would say with the deck is there's quite a bit of like sorcery things in the deck, or they kind of went not heavy, but there's stuff in there where I'm like, why is it's doing damage on my turn? I don't want it on my turn. I need this to do damage on their turn. So I think how this deck should be built is more of what's actually in the deck, a Mogus deck, where it's their upkeep. You're automatically going to get the damage so that this gets bigger. I would also say, unlike Mogus, our buddy Jeremy has a Mogus deck. He doesn't ever attack. He just sits back and lets Mogus and all the other fun stuff do its thing, and then, he tries to prevent people from attacking. I think you could do this as a Mogus style where you're doing damage around the board all the time, but then also as a Voltron deck, because he has a little bit of a built-in protection that even when somebody goes to kill him, they have to pay 2 life, so you're all automatically going to draw a card off of them trying to kill him. I think there needs to be a little bit more, and I didn't put a lot. Like, I have some examples. If I were to build this deck, I would have a lot more protection things in this deck. Mainly
to keep Volgaroth around.
Right,
Yeah.
because the paying 2 life is minimal. That's a shock land. Anybody can do that in Commander. The cool thing is it does help him out. So you just want to be able to protect him as much as possible. And then I guess how I would do it as well is I would have a mass amount of continuing with the Mogus idea of enchantments or whatever doing damage each turn. So I have in this deck 13 cards, and they're pretty much the protection stuff comes in my Mr. Unlimited stuff because it's a little more expensive. But so most of this stuff I'm going to point out here are just more things to play to make it so you can draw more cards. The big thing is you want to get him big, you draw cards. So first off, Ancient Ruins. It's 2 colorless and 1 red. It's an enchantment. During each player's upkeep, Ancient Ruins deals 1 damage to that player for each artifact he or she controls. So this does hit you as well, but most likely every player is going to have an artifact. That is coming up here in a second. Polluted Bonds is something else that was added, or somebody just suggested. Jay-Z Kayak suggested that. So, but I just wanted a lot of things where guarantee or close to a guarantee that you're going to be dealing damage, because it'd be nice.
Yeah.
The ideal situation is to draw 3 cards a play cycle. So every player gets somehow a damage, and you're drawing a card off of it. So it needs to be on their turn, them losing life. So I don't remember how to say this card, but that is it
Ankh of Mishra.
Ankh of Mishra. So this is 2-drop artifact. Whenever a land comes into play, it deals 2 damage to that land's controller. So
how much is that saying it is right now? No. Look on Moxfield. What's it saying that's at right now?
Well, I can't because I'm zoomed in. It wasn't. It was like $2 or something like that at this point. Why did you?
Yeah,
think
I think it's just that version. So you're lucky.
Yeah.
So I think it's starting to go up. It's sitting about $8-12. It's kind of on its spike right now.
Yeah.
This deck is moving a lot of cards. Like Zozu the Punisher is up to like $20 now.
Yep, he's in.
Like,
he's in the.
Yeah,
the
crazy.
Yeah, that's in the Mr. Unlimited. So
this one's cheap for now. Like buy it tonight or tomorrow.
Yep.
Like if you're looking to buy it. So
Citadel of Pain, 2 colors and a red enchantment. Beginning of each player's turn, it deals X damage to that player, where X is the number of untapped lands. Oh, it's at the beginning of each player's. At the end of each player's turn, not the beginning. So the nice thing is you're trying to get them, like, if they're all tapped out, fine. You didn't lose any life. I don't get my benefit, but you're tapped out. I know you're not going to be able to do anything. This is making it so people tap down their stuff. So, you don't have any instant counter spells or whatever going on. But for the most part, I'm going to keep up protection spells, so I'm going to keep my land untapped. So I would take the damage, and that would give me a benefit off of that. So this is, like I said, not 100% you're doing damage every turn, but you're probably doing damage. A lot of this, it felt very much like my Nekasar deck. Like there's a lot of cards that I was like, oh, that's in my Nekasar deck. Oh, that's also this one. Fate Unraveler, 3 for a black hag creature. Whenever an opponent draws a card, it deals 1 damage to that player. It already has these synergies in the deck, but why not add more? So basically, you're just like I said, it's a Mogus deck. You're basically just draining everybody every turn, and you're gonna piss off people, but whatever. Havoc Festival. This one's stupid, but it is a lot. It's 6 to come out, so 4 colors, a black and a red. Players can't gain lives. At the beginning of each player's upkeep, that player loses half their life, rounded up. You're not getting hit with this until it comes around to you, so at least one person's getting hit with this, and they have to decide, are we getting rid of this, or am I going to just keep letting everybody lose half their life? This will make the game go super quick. I know it's 6, but you're going to be dealing damage or losing life. That's actually how it's worded with the commander. It says when our opponent loses life. So if it said damage, that would not take effect, but because it says losing life, it will take effect here.
Yep. Reading my mind.
Monobarbs
just checking.
Is just, it's douchey, but I mean, it's there. This goes back to our old school days. Each time any player or any land is tapped for mana, it deals 1 damage to that land's controller. So you're going to deal damage to people. You're going to draw cards. You're going to get your guy bigger. So it's just, fun. What is Jay-Z saying?
Just go ham.
Yeah. So Pestilence, you also have, and I will say it in there too, you also have Pyrohemia. Pyrohemia jumped up because there's multiple other decks with red that has made that card.
Enrage.
Yeah.
Loves it.
Yeah. So, but Pestilence does the same thing, but it's in black, so it's 2 colors, 2 black. Enchantment at the beginning, or at the end of any turn, if there's no creatures, it dies. But you can tap 1 black, deal 1 damage to all creatures and all players. So everybody's turn, hey, Larry, your turn. Tap 1, take 1 damage. I draw a card. This guy gets bigger. You can also kill creatures a little bit as your creature's getting bigger. It's kind of a way to handle the board a little bit too. So I kind of like both of these in this deck. Polluted Bonds, which was mentioned by Jay-Z as well. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under opponent's control, the player loses 2 life. You gain 2 life. Rug of Smothering. Whenever a player casts a spell, they lose 1 life for each spell they've cast this turn. It's an artifact creature construct, so...
I love that card. You took 10 life on it one time.
Did I?
The only time I was able to play it. I don't know if you remember it.
I don't remember that.
I think you were playing Hackball. You were just like, creature, creature, creature. I was like, how many spells did you just play?
Yeah.
You lose 1, you lose 2, you lose 3. You lose 4.
Oh, gosh. What is it? Cezanne Perverter?
Saison. I don't know.
Perverter of
Okay.
Truth. At the beginning of each player's upkeep, that player loses 2 life and draws 2 cards. It is benefiting people, so I'm hemming and hawing on this one a little bit because I don't want to give people more draw, but it is guaranteed that they're losing 2 life, so you're going to draw a card while they draw 2 cards as well. And in that turn cycle, you're going to for sure draw 3 cards. So it's cheap because they keep reprinting it. It wasn't that cheap a while ago, but
correct.
Now we have Suit Imp. Whenever a player plays a non-black spell, that player loses a life. So it includes you, but you're playing your 2 colors. So a lot of your stuff, you're going to not take the 1 damage. But people playing spells, you're most likely going to be able to draw and get that 1/1 counter.
Mm-hmm.
Sulfuric Vortex at the beginning of each player's upkeep. See, again, this is all Moga stuff. It deals 2 damage to that player. If that player would gain life, they gain no life instead. It's an enchantment. And then Underworld Dreams. Whenever an opponent draws a card, it deals 1 damage to him or her. So, what did I say how many cards we had? We had 13?
13?
13 brings us to a total of $19.54.
You do a good job bringing it up there.
Yeah. So,
Mr. Unlimited.
Mr. Unlimited. Oh, we'll burn through these quick because, like I said, there's repeats. I have 18 of them in here. Blood Chief Ascension. You're doing damage on people's turns. It's just going to be.
It's going to go off.
Yep.
And just win you games.
Funny thing is, I went back to our old video of protection in red and black, and you had mentioned this one. I brought this one to attention, but Bolt Bend. In this, your creature, he's a 4/4 to start off with. Bolt Bend is 3 and 1 red instant. It costs 3 less if you control a creature with power 4 or greater. So change the target spell or ability with a single target. So you're paying one. This is your protection package. So you have that. You also have deflecting SWAT. I won't talk about that one. That one's really expensive too. But surprisingly, Bolt Bend is like a $3-4 card. So it's not cheap for an uncommon from War of the Spark.
That's pretty good.
Yep. Burning Earth. Whenever a player taps a non-basic land, they deal 1 damage to that player. You're most likely going to hit people with that. I added this one late. It doesn't fit necessarily.
No.
Because it's on your turn.
Yeah.
But the reason why I was thinking it is more of it's draining the table and it's giving you more ramp a little bit. So it's Descent into Avernus. Ibukaki's one of his favorite cards. I have still yet to own a card for this or own this one. It may go in decks now that we don't have Dockside.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
It's a ton of fun.
Yeah. So I'm going to try to play this more. But for those that are listening, it's 2 colors and a red for an enchantment. At the beginning of your upkeep, put 2 descent counters on it. Then it deals, or you create that many treasure tokens. Everybody does. And then it deals X damage to each player equal to its the counters on that. So I think this really speeds up the game. It's a Mogus kind of deck. It doesn't fit exactly with how I would build it, but it is giving you treasures to help you keep casting more. Because the idea is you want to get a lot of this stuff out there to do as much damage on everybody's turn as possible. So Exquisite Blood, let's gain that life that everybody's losing. Forsaken Waste, during each player's upkeep, that player loses a life. Lightning Greaves, Mithril Coat. What else we got? Plaza of Heroes. I'm going to kind of hit the ones that were protection. And Sword of Wealth and Power, all kind of like your protection equipment kind of stuff.
Okay.
I also have Maddening Hex. You enchant a player. I don't think you'll like this one, Lowry, because it's rolling dice. But you enchant a player. Whenever enchanted player casts a non-creature spell, roll a 6-sided dice. It deals damage to that player equal to the result. Then they attach it to another player that isn't you. It's one of your opponents. So, and it's chosen at random. So hopefully the idea is you hit the player that's next to you. They cast a non-creature spell. Hopefully it hits the next player in the line, but it won't go back to you is all that matters. And it's only a 3-drop. So I think that would make kind of fun. I don't think Jay-Z's asking if Monobarbs. I don't remember seeing Monobarbs in there. That might be a good ad. Orcish Bowmasters.
No, you put Monobarbs in there.
Oh, yeah, that was up there.
So
yeah,
I don't know if it's already in the deck,
no.
but it's definitely on Adam's list.
Yeah, I was like,
so if we doubled up, definitely put it in there.
Orcish Bowmasters. Yeah, you're going to be able to do 1 damage to a player when it enters the battlefield or whenever an opponent draws a card, except for the first one. There you can hit the player for 1. Plaza of Heroes, another way to protect your stuff. I already talked about Pyrohemia. Then we have Rolling Vortex. God, I need to stop with all these cards added in. At the beginning of each player's upkeep, it deals 1 damage to them. So that's an automatic. You're going to get your trigger. Shieldred, the Apocalypse, you're going to get your trigger. And then Spell Shock, you're going to probably get your trigger. Whenever any player successfully casts a spell, deals 2 damage to them. And then, like you mentioned earlier, Zozu the Punisher. Whenever a land comes into play, it deals 2 damage to that land's controller. So the feel of the deck is a very Mogus, but I feel like if you have a Mogus deck, Jeremy, replace it with this dude, because this feels like you're doing the same thing that Mogus does, but you have the opportunity to keep drawing cards and getting him bigger to one-shot somebody, or somebody that's the highest life out of the people that are getting drained. You're able to actually swing in and take them out. So I think this is stronger, and I can kind of see why this deck is so popular, because it's going to make the game go faster than Mogus does. I think that's one of Mogus's downfalls, is that it's more of like sit back and let everybody kind of drain out kind of deck. And this one feels like, let's be aggressive. We're going to drain people out, and then we're also going to destroy people. So was there any cards that you thought to add in? You said Zozo.
No, that was a solid. You got 32 cards, and that's a solid list right there. You built this one too. Do you want suggestions? Here are all of them.
All right. So, yeah, I'm glad that we kept it to just this, because that would have been a long episode here. Please let us know in the comments which one you guys are planning to build or upgrade, or maybe some of the cards that we missed that you think would be good in the decks. We'd love to see what you guys have. Jay-Z saying he built a Mogus deck in the past. Yeah, I think.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Lowry loves
Rowan's disgusting.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Lowry loves
I got
his.
one.
Yeah,
It's freaking.
Rowan's good. Rowan and Will, very good.
Yeah.
All right. Like we mentioned, we are going to be doing double cast this week. So on Thursday, make sure you guys jump in. That's all games. So make sure you guys check in there. We're going to be doing Stump the Smith Savant. And if you haven't entered, make sure you guys enter. You do not have to be in the Discord. You can be just a listener that's listening for free. You just need to email us at commandersmiths@gmail.com with your suggestions. What I mean by that, if you're just listening, is you need to find a card that's in at least 10,000 EDH rec decks that has flavor text, and I'm going to read the flavor text of the card. Larry's going to try to guess the card. I'm giving him clues and all that stuff, and you could win cards like the Regavan that we mentioned earlier. So make sure you guys get those entered, and yeah, I think that should do it for tonight. We will catch you guys on Thursday.
Thanks for listening.
See ya.
Bye.
I gotta find it. Where is it? Where it is?
Boobs. I'm talking tatas.
What episode number was this?
346.
346.
Thanks for the memories. I love boobs.
Where's your cup? Where's your cup? Where's your cup?
Got there.
Oh, wait. I gotta do this. I almost went to the wrong one. Hey, gang. The best way to support the Commander Smiths is make sure you slap that like button. And if you haven't done so already, subscribe to our channel. Also, check out our online store, commandersmiths.com, where we have metal tokens, mugs, t-shirts, playmats, and more. We gotta change that outro.